I wanted to test some recipes that used green tomatoes, and I read somewhere that green tomatoes can be used in place of tomatillo. So I found a recipe for a soup that I really like at Au Bon Pain. And so I'm going to try to test this recipe and use green tomatoes in place of tomatillo. The recipe calls for the first step is to dice the vegetables, so the onions, peppers, and the jalapeno, as well as the onions. Then we're going to saute it, and while it's sauteing, I will cut the green tomatoes. The recipe calls for butter, but I'm going to use butter and olive oil. Yum. And then I'm going to get the onions going. So I have the diced onions. Next, add the diced peppers. So we'll let that go for a while. Next, we'll add garlic and stir that around. Now we're going to add the pound of green tomatoes, 1 teaspoon of cumin, just going to put a couple shakes, half a teaspoon of chili powder, salt, pepper. Supposed to let that cook for 10 minutes. So now this is cooked down for about 10 minutes. I think I want it to cook down a little bit more, but at this point I'm going to add the corn because this corn isn't roasted. You know, I think it's fine if it's raw, but I also want it to heat up just a little bit. So I'll let this go for maybe another 5 minutes. And the next step is to use a hand blender, but I don't have that. So I'm going to blend this in a regular blender. This is very hot, so I need to be careful. So there's still some chunks in here, but I think this is good enough. I have 2 cups of chicken broth here, and I'm going to add the 4th cup of the corn flour. I already have 1 cup of chicken broth already mixed in with the rest of the mixture. I'm going to add the chicken stock with the corn flour into the broth. And then I'm going to add another cup of corn back into the soup. And now I let this simmer for 15 minutes. So it's been cooking for about 15 minutes and it's nice and thick. So to this I'm going to add 3/4 cups of milk. And probably it will taste better with cream, but I don't have any, so. Okay, I ended up adding another cup of corn so that it'll be a little bit more chunky. And I put in some pepper and 1 chicken bouillon cube. The chicken broth that I was using was low sodium, so I wanted a little bit of salt. So now it tastes very good. This is the final soup. It's very thick. You could definitely taste the tartness of the green tomato. It gives it a nice flavor. It doesn't taste like the soup at Au Bon Pain, but it is actually really good. I think if I used cream instead of milk, it might get closer to the ABP soup, but I really like it. It's very hearty and it's very warm, so it'll be perfect for the coming winter months. So this was green chili and corn bisque. Cheers.